Welcome to the first championship round of the 2019 U-18 Canadian National Championships. I'm Kevin Palmer, and I'm here with Kelsey Rock.
Hi.
Hello. And we would like to begin by acknowledging that we are competing this week on the traditional lands of the Treaty 6 nations, including the Blackfoot, Cree, Dene, Gros Ventre, Métis, Nakota Sioux, and Saulteaux. Indigenous people were joined by settlers and pioneers who together built this great community of Strathcona County. So in this first round draw, we've got Manitoba starting with Hammer, and they are playing Nova Scotia. This is Scott Weigel, lead for Nova Scotia. Manitoba getting Hammer based on their finish in the pool play. I was told, in fact, though, that no team so far this week on Team C has, it's been telecast at least, has been able to win with Hammer. So we'll see if Manitoba can overcome that today.
Yeah, with 4 days of play already underway, that's pretty crazy that no team has won with Hammer on this sheet yet. And we have our lead for Manitoba. Alexandre Fontaine. He is 16 years of age.
So the first stone is a center guard. What we have seen this week is teams don't play out the first end for a blank. They seem to go right at each other. So
I like it.
Would expect aggressive play right away. It's a little heavy with that draw attempt.
If you get the ice early in practice, then the first end is a great opportunity to take advantage of that and try and get an early deuce or maybe even an early steal if you're Team Nova Scotia.
You also notice that they're taking ice pretty much at the sideboards. The swing here has been substantial. These are pretty fresh rocks. And particularly early in the game, they will curl quite a bit.
That's fantastic ice conditions. Great experience for these young players to get to play on arena ice this early in their young careers. Great shot there.
Might think that was directional sweeping. It could have just been actually the movement of the stone. Hard to say. But so at this stage in the championship round, Kelsey, neither team would be eliminated from this game, correct?
Yes. Yeah, it's looking like it's a double knockout for the championship round. So you get opportunity to have, once you hit your second loss, you will be eliminated, but the championship round does start today.
We've got another left-hander.
Yeah. And our second for Team Manitoba is Braxton Kuntz. And he is 15 years of age.
Little roll on that shot, but just peeking out on the out-turn side. Oh, I should be careful. There might be more lefties here. I always thought that it was interesting. You call it left in-turn, out-turn, but then if you throw from a different hand, it flip-flops. Second for Nova Scotia, Alex McDonough. Out of the Truro Curling Club. Just rubs the front guard. So Alex started by watching his brother curl in Little Rocks, and he actually went to the U11s. I was not even aware there was a U11s.
Neither was I.
So I guess you could call that a form of a tuck slide. The broom up on the back, riding up on the back, a little bit different.
Yeah, a little bit of a hybrid slide there.
So a nice shot coming around the corner guard. And I don't think they can roll to be shot there.
No, and it's a pretty steep double, so that's really good placement there by Team Manitoba.
Actually looking at angling the guard in, which I think is an aggressive play. If this should miss both yellow stones, Manitoba be able to draw to lie 3.
Yeah, it's a very a confident call, definitely in the first end, especially when you don't have the hammer. But if it's made, it's definitely a great call.
So this is Adam McEachran. He's actually the skip. And Owen Purcell holding the broom right now throws the final 2 stones.
Oof. Almost got caught in between there, but still a really good shot. Okay, cool. The third for Team Manitoba is Jaden Newert. He is also 16 years of age, and he got started in curling, started at the St. Vital Juniors as his parents curled there as well. So you see that a lot with these young players. They get into curling because of their parents or other family members who were, a lot of time they spent their years growing up at the rink, so it's awesome to see.
Was that your situation where you also forced into it, Kelsey, or
Absolutely
did you have
not.
a choice?
No, neither of my parents curl. I played different sports growing up, and then I had a friend who took me to the local curling club in Fort Saskatchewan where I grew up, and kind of took hold of it and went from there.
So a break for Nova Scotia as they just weren't able to get that into the house and just rub the red corner guard. So they're trying to get the inside roll here or actually roll away. I'm not sure if I spotted their decision on this.
Yeah. By the looks of them not sweeping, I think they're trying to get underneath here.
Oh, actually it came up hard on them, and
lots of finish there.
but they've got 2 guards to roll under, so you might see if Manitoba actually bothers to play on that or just come around the corner.
Yeah, definitely a good roll there. It forces Manitoba to shoot out way in the wings. Kind of an ice that's unknown in the first end, so yeah, I definitely think that another option would be to come around their yellow just off center corner guard.
Now they might be thinking, I know it doesn't look apparent, but they might be thinking they can actually get to the inside here when it'll come up really hard from the sideboards, but they could always, if they did hit the guard, who knows, something.
Yeah, it looks close. Oh, great shot. That's awesome. Really good, really well thrown.
Now, of course, if Nova Scotia makes a play on this, they be difficult to get it into the rings.
Yeah, if Nova Scotia was to chase that now, they probably won't be in the rings, and that would give Manitoba that opportunity to come around their yellow corner guard.
So this is the vice for Nova Scotia, Owen Purcell. His hometown is Upper Tantalon. It's kind of fun to say. Actually.
Yeah, that's a fun name.
An interesting fact that Owen's actually colorblind and is actually blind in his right eye. So I wonder how his depth perception is. And at this sport, you certainly need to aim at a target. So it's interesting.
That's a very interesting fact.
So unfortunately, hitting the guard there, that's going to give Manitoba a chance to split to lie 2. And a smart play here, there's really no reason to go around the corner guard. At this point, your opponent's just going to hit the open stone anyway. So the only danger would be if you went around the corner, came deep, you might actually leave your opponent a chance to come down and freeze to you and take you out at the end. So.
Absolutely. So our skip for Team Manitoba is Jordan McDonald. And he's 15 years of age, been curling for 10 years, and he got started into curling again with Little Rocks at age 5, and he watched his dad play prior to that. So another curler that got into curling with family.
No mistake there in the first end. That's, I guess, an opportunity to try to play the role, put a little bit more pressure on Manitoba, maybe take them away from a deuce. But
yeah, absolutely. Make a good roll here, and you can still get a force.
for some of these teams that may have played in similar competitions, they may have a slight advantage. Certainly a lot of rock move action, stuff that you won't find at a curling club. And so if you're thinking here where you need to hit a certain portion of the rock, it's going to be, you need to hit a lot more of the rock than you would in a club, as an example. So as an example here, you can see it's going to roll actually right out of the rings, hitting about a third of the stone. So
yeah,
something where in a club that actually might have been fine, but very fast ice surface as well.
Absolutely, and I think a lot of these young players getting this experience early, it's really good for them moving forward into their junior and men's and women's careers. Even releases tend to change when you play on arena ice, so like I said, great experience, and they're definitely going to take away a lot from this week playing on arena ice.
So just has to hit the paint for 2 points.
Yeah, quite a carefree end for Team Manitoba. They played a pretty good end, took their opportunities when they could, and made quite a few soft shots this end, which is very impressive for the first end, and still kind of figuring out the ice a little bit. Looks pretty good.
So draw for two. Manitoba up 2-0 after the first. Nova Scotia hammer in the next end. So you mentioned, Kelsey, the opportunity these players have. I think back, you know, I'm not to be the old guy in the booth, but I am the old guy in the booth. We had juniors maybe every few years at Canada Winter Games. That was really the extent of it. Now there's all of these different opportunities these players have. University. You played university as well, right? And I know we talk about in this country that the competitive level is struggling a bit. I know the past few years the Grandmasters in Ontario has actually had more teams than the men's playdowns. But at the junior levels, I think in particular, we are giving a lot of opportunities for players to develop. And I think that's great for the sport. We need to, you know, if we're going to compete at a national and international play, need to keep developing of the talent pool. 'Cause that's our advantage, I think, which is that we have many players, so we need to give them opportunity.
Absolutely, and I think it does start here at the U-18 level. I was fortunate enough to go to a couple U-18s when I was younger, and they were not played in arenas and were not played on arena ice. So I think Curling Canada's done a great job of developing these young players and getting them to play on these conditions early in their careers so that when they get to the Canadian junior level and the Scotties and the Brier, they've already had that experience, as well as the university level too, that is now played in an arena. So the more opportunities that these players get to play on those conditions is fantastic.
I always find it interesting, too, because if you go back to the 70s and 80s, arena ice was actually the worst ice you would ever play on. And most teams dreaded the conditions at a Brier or at the Women's Canadian and some of those early Scotties. A lot of times they'd have challenges with the rocks and the conditions, but that's certainly changed over the last few years. Decades, actually, more than years. Now, I have had some discussion on my podcast, Curling Legends, where I talk with some of the older players. Sometimes there's a thought, though, that maybe there's too much curl in the ice, and the conditions are too consistent. So I don't know if it's something that you have ever thought of, that when because of the amount of curl, maybe your accuracy on the throw doesn't need to be as important as your weight sensitivity. And what are your thoughts on that in terms of the required accuracy of throwing the shot? When you got 7 feet of curl like we have here.
Yeah, I think a lot of teams have different ways of kind of managing shots, and I think that's the biggest difference is just shot management is a hair different when you get to play on arena ice. You can get away with, I think, being a little more positive with your releases, making the rock run, so to speak. But anytime you're a little bit too soft or that in motion or dumping, that's when you tend to see rocks over curl quite a bit and make your misses look a little worse than maybe you threw it, just because arena ice does tend to curl a lot more.
Yeah, and we saw that last night when there was a few misses. They just got started a bit early, and you really can't save them.
Exactly.
They're just going to go. But we saw that one actually curl to the open side of a rock in the 8-foot, so that's a lot of curl.
Absolutely.
Probably even a bit more than you might have seen in the odd slam, I'm imagining. Right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, if you can master those quite positive releases and good rotation, and like I said, your sweepers are able to manage that, the line and the weight well, then I think curly ice is great.
Maybe it came up a little bit more than they would have liked, but
yeah.
Interesting to see what Nova Scotia does here. They definitely have, they do have a corner guard over to the side. They got to move play away from the middle at some point in this end so they can look to score.
Absolutely, try and use that corner guard that they threw. Just the straight peel, which is fine. That forces Team Manitoba to...
the interesting conundrum here is they can't get to that Nova Scotia stone at all with those two staggered rocks. In fact, it's reminiscent of how Nova Scotia actually won the Brier against Team Furby in Alberta back in 2004. Just get a rock tucked away in behind there.
So by peeling that guard, Nova Scotia will probably go up and play the double on the two yellows, and Team Manitoba, by peeling the guard, will now have to make a double back. So this could shape up to be a blank end.
They could take a more aggressive play here. I mean, they could just even try to freeze at the top of that stone. There's other things they could attempt. But
absolutely.
I think you're right. If after this play, it's going to be difficult to continue to play out the end without a blank. Hard not to leave some double.
Yeah. Nice shot there.
So Alex, who just made that double, in 2017, 2018, won the Grand Turkey at the Truro Curling Club Turkey Spiel.
Ooh, something I've always wanted to do.
I don't know if that's actually a turkey or or a trophy with a large golden turkey on it.
Either way, I think that's pretty good.
Do you remember your first prize? How old were you when you started, Kelsey?
I started curling when I was 13, so I was a bit of a late bloomer, but oh gosh, I can't even remember, I don't think.
Clock radio.
You know what, it was probably a toaster of some
toaster.
kind, yeah. It's funny, when you're a kid, you don't really want to win appliances, and now I want to enter every spiel and win every appliance I can.
Need to get this to at least bite into the ring, so they can continue to lie too. Manitoba's going to try to hit to sit shot rather than try a slash double at this point.
And just an update on the other games that are going on here this morning. On the men's side, we have BC with a score of 1 over Saskatchewan in the first end. Ontario up 2-0 on New Brunswick. And Alberta up 1-0 after the first end on Nova Scotia 2. On the girls' side, we have BC and Northern Ontario blanking the first end. Saskatchewan taking a deuce on New Brunswick in the first end. Manitoba up 1-0 on Alberta 2. And Alberta 1 up 1-0 on Ontario.
Trying to hold this to see if they can keep it in the rings, and enough
And
down
they
weight
will.
there that it did. So
Yeah.
a good shot, although an opportunity for Manitoba now to try the straight back double.
So quite a bit of experience for Jordan McDonald already at this young age, with Manitoba Games U-15 gold medalist, also Manitoba Canada Games trials runner-up, and a great shot there by the Manitoba skip. Get his team out of a little bit of trouble. Still an opportunity for Nova Scotia to come around that rock and generate a deuce, though.
And the archer's going to go around it. That's an awfully tight guard. You might see some teams maybe shy away from that, worried about rumming it and rolling in, maybe getting forced into one. Even if they do make the perfect come around, there's a chance Manitoba could stick the run back and
Still get a force.
But you are 2 down. You got to take some chances when the opportunity presents itself.
Absolutely. I think this is a great call, especially like you said, down 2-0. It's a good way to generate a deuce.
And Owen delivering that stone with a bit of his own Manitoba tuck, in fact. With the taped up corn broom. I don't imagine you ever used a corn broom.
I've never used a corn broom. No.
There are actually some. We're seeing events pop up here and there where people are actually now playing with corn brooms. So almost like in golf where you can get a set of hickory sticks to play with the old technology.
Mm-hmm.
That's something I would encourage anyone to do unless they have no disregard for their arms whatsoever.
So Manitoba electing to play the run back here. They could come around and follow and freeze, still get the force that way, but Jordan did just throw this shot. Looks pretty close. Great shot.
And actually does manage to roll and at least make Nova Scotia have a play to blank. A lot of weight though. If you're trying to stick that, I think you probably play it maybe down a little bit more. That might even been. Of course, that's I think his first thought being 2 up, not to take any chances.
Absolutely. And I think the first double that he played was also pretty up weight, so he knew the line for that type of throw. So Nova Scotia here with the blank attempt.
He might be a little bit tight on that. See if they can roll it out. And no will just stay in. So force of 1, and Manitoba will get hammered in the third end, up 2-1. Well, this is a clear suck-up in that lead. Scott Weigel, when asked who he admires in curling, he said skip Adam McEachran. So clearly he wants to remain on this team. And his favorite athlete is Kobe Bryant. So.
Okay.
Good choice. If there was any question of maybe they were going to make a player change, now that's not going to happen. So that's maybe a good call.
He's sealed his spot on the team, that's for sure. That was a good answer. And Alex's favorite, who does he admire in curling or another sport? Goes without question, Jeff Stoughton.
You can see they're going to miss this guard by quite a bit. Almost could have thought about trying to take that right around, but too late now with plan B. So just going to sit right beside the Manitoba stone. Looks like rather than hit that, actually, they're going to just play a freeze or even a...
Yeah, Manitoba's going to stay on the offense a little bit here. So we should see lots of rocks in play as Nova Scotia really wants to get that force and take the hammer back going into end 4.
So, and this is what we talked about a bit earlier about the aggressive calling. It's you're up with hammer. Yeah, hitting and rolling to the open side would be an option, but I actually don't mind this play. Now that comes up a bit, but
it's in a pretty good spot though.
Yeah. The one advantage for Nova Scotia is at least they're getting play around into the center. And it is also their guard up front, so at some point later on, if they have to try to get out of this end, they can play that. But definitely going to see rocks in play. So far, everything is in the house or up in front. Nothing out of play.
Yeah.
Gotta go.
Manitoba will just have to make sure that they always have that option as a shot for one. Make sure they score this end and keep control of the game. Sometimes that can be pretty tough if you start filling up the middle early.
So a little light on that and came up a bit on them. So Manitoba now trying to decide what to do here.
Might be time to make a decision to move those guards around up front, open up the middle.
Are they actually just trying to run this back or just peel it completely?
I think he just wants the straight peel.
I will ask the Vic Router questions once in a while.
Perfect. So Nova Scotia just wanting to replace that guard, I believe.
Or are they trying to come down and jostle them and all?
They might be coming down to jostle.
So I do think if they could get to the inside on that top yellow and maybe move it around, but
yeah, as long as they keep a good angle.
looks like they're really have enough weight maybe just to get to the top, but it's actually over curling.
Yeah. Kind of leaves Manitoba that hit now to get rid of shot stone if they so choose to play it.
I would still be tempted to just rip that center guard though.
I agree.
When I'm up with hammer, but
keep the middle open.
yeah. Of course, the interesting thing about particularly 5 rock now is that you're not necessarily even thinking about game control as much as you're thinking about aggression, because you know you'll have to be aggressive next end. So even if Manitoba scores 2 here, their opponent's down 3, but they know that they're going to be facing lots of rocks in play. So there does seem to be, I guess, you find Kelsey, and even more so this year as everyone's playing 5 rock, that the game itself has changed, and you're thinking about the future ends as much as how you're playing a certain end. Is that something that you consider?
Absolutely. I think a great thing about 5 rock rule is that no lead is really safe. You're always thinking ahead, and scoreboard management is huge in 5 rock. Just because big ends can kind of come out of nowhere if you're missing that bail point early in an end.
So that was the danger with the way the rocks were set up now. Although Manitoba has 3 yellows in there, they could be all gone fairly quickly. A good shot by Nova Scotia.
Yeah, it doesn't look like that triple jams anywhere, so Nova Scotia could take major control here with a good shot.
And, unfortunately, Nova Scotia hasn't been given a new hat design here. They just have the NS. We need something to spruce that up a little bit.
Yeah, those hats looked awesome this year at the Brier.
And somebody should be sweeping that. There they are. Just does get it out. So Manitoba continues to lie 1. Just a little high side on that shot, but still good positioning for Nova Scotia, sitting buried behind the center guard.
So Jaden Newart, his dad is actually the coach of this team, John Newart. He's been coaching these boys for 3 years now. So quite some experience behind this team. They've stuck together for a while. It's nice to see. A little bit of a chap there by Jaden. So again, a double opportunity for Nova Scotia.
Well, Adam's going to come down and have a look at how the rocks are set up. It does look like that top yellow would maybe jam onto that red potentially, unless they could catch it really thin on the back yellow.
Yeah, and then I'm not sure. Yeah. Might be, maybe a nose hit would be better there.
I don't even mind just trying to get to the top with soft weight, and now you're leaving 2 red stones on either side of the center. And
exactly.
Even if Manitoba's shot, it's going to be I think a positive situation for Nova Scotia with Skip's rocks to come. It's pretty common at, well, even every level sometimes to just think about the shot you're playing and then the next result, and not necessarily consider all of the shots remaining in the end.
Yeah, absolutely. It's something you always have to be thinking of, is 2 or 3 shots ahead.
So looks like a little more down weight than he had on the last attempt, but we talked about not getting that positive release, and that's the result here.
Yeah, got a little caught. A little fortunate though. At least he moved that one top 4, so that double is available now if you're looking ahead to the next shot, depending on what Manitoba does.
So it looks that Manitoba is sitting at least 1, and I'm not sure if they're sitting 2 currently, but so thinking they're just sitting 1 and 3, Manitoba's going to hit that back stone to sit 1, 2, and 3.
Good shot there. Important to stick around and make sure your shooter stays in the rings. Probably forces Team Nova Scotia to do a little bit of damage control here and eliminate some yellows.
I was going to say, if you're 0 here now, what are you trying to make a play on at this point?
Yeah, I'm thinking your 2 options would probably be the hit and the roll. I think that's what they're playing. Or you can play the double and hit on your last.
It does look like they can get the roll here and get shot, potentially.
Yeah.
So
this is a really good call.
And the way the yellows are situated, it would be difficult actually to angle them into it, I think. So depending where this ends up. Even if you get a slight inside roll, Manitoba would probably have to make a play on it and then end up rolling away and possibly no longer be shot.
Oh, very close.
It's a little bit of space there. So it does look like Manitoba's going to probably play a soft weight shot and try to get to the inside. I think a case there where they could have played a little bit less weight on that, and you really do need to get the roll.
Yeah, you always got to kind of think where your tolerance would be, or the roll was very important there. So yeah, exactly. Making sure you have that nice soft weight to ensure you get that roll, kind of save the end. Still an opportunity though. Manitoba has to make sure they stick in the rings here.
this right out of his hand, but looks like they've been able to hold it. Actually, maybe held it a little too much, but they did get just about an inch to the inside, which might be.
Yeah, the rock's about edge to edge now, so very, very tough to get that roll under for Nova Scotia if they were to choose that. But it looks like they're just going to play the double. They might be able to touch the one that Manitoba just threw.
Yeah, there is a possibility. Just missing my telestrator. We could draw this one up.
Need some arrows.
Would have to clip that yellow rock at 1 o'clock in the 4-foot pretty thin, but it is possible. And they do.
Oh, what a shot.
Spins it out, great shot.
Fantastic shot by Team Nova Scotia. Great sweeping, great throw, great line call.
Bit of noise from the Blue Nosers in the back.
Yeah, awesome to see all the hats out. So Team Manitoba can still get away here with a blank, settle back in the hack and make a good throw here.
This looks like one of those Jeff Stoughton shots that I always felt Jeff was so good at. Just seeing a little piece of that rock and somehow just like an arrow, just right down the line, and didn't matter if he could see a quarter of an inch, he would be able to take it out. No problem there. So
really
it's a blank
good throw
by Manitoba. Continue to lead 2-1 with Hammer heading into the fourth end. Center guard placed by Nova Scotia.
Yeah, and just an update on the scores that are happening this morning. So for the girls' games, Northern Ontario is up 1-0 over BC, and this is all after 2 ends. New Brunswick is up 3-2 over Saskatchewan. Manitoba and Alberta 2 are tied 1-1, and Alberta is 1-0 over Team Ontario. The other men's games this morning, BC and Saskatchewan are tied at 1 after 2 ends. Ontario is up 4-0. Nova Scotia 2 is up 2-1 over Alberta. And just a quick update on the Ontario-New Brunswick game that I said was 4-0. And New Brunswick just scored a 4 to tie it up 4-4. That's a big turn of events on that sheet.
Girl!
Really nice hit and roll there by Team Manitoba.
So electing to play the draw to the wings to sit 2.
Yeah, really smart call. This tends to keep the middle open a little bit more and gives you a more open chance for it too.
A little bit too much sweeping and just slips down to 3rd shot, so we may see Nova Scotia just ignore that. Well, it's still got to worry him a little bit. It's still early in the end. Don't want to keep too many yellows in there when you don't have hammer.
Or you can just wait and have your skipper make a triple on his last, hey?
You can rely on that only so many times, I think. Yeah.
This looks like it's curling early.
So Owen Purcell and Scott Weagle actually are the defending U-18 champions from last year.
Wow.
Skip of that team was Graham Weagle. I don't know how many Weagles there are in Nova Scotia, but there's probably some chance they're related.
I would assume so.
I'd imagine.
It's an awesome accomplishment, and to be able to come back and defend that title and to have that opportunity is really, really good.
So another Manitoba straggler just sitting at the back 12. If you are Nova Scotia, I guess you're happy you've got 2 center guards up front, but and that they are red stones, but you're probably feeling a little nervous about the amount of yellow in the house. But this is where you got to keep that play to the center. Hope it doesn't open up and give your opponent a chance for 2 or 3 points.
Yeah, absolutely. Their red is pretty safe right now, and if they make a good one here, they'll just have to be careful because Manitoba will most likely open up those 2 center guards and try and gain access to this rock.
I do think that's the next play for Manitoba, regardless what happens here. If they continue to play into the center, they're going to limit their opportunities potentially.
Yeah, they might box themselves in a little bit.
He's got the right weight here. Looks like really good line, but they're going on it all the way, trying to drag it right into the tee line. Will come up a little bit light.
Yeah, really good sweep.
Still a good position. Thought we were almost going to see a timeout there for a second. There was the hamster was running in the wheel. But I think they're going to they're going to play an actual guard, or tight guard on this, Kelsey?
I think so, yeah. I think that was the call. Not a bad call, but again, we'll give Nova Scotia the opportunity to get one in there.
Well, the outturn is still available to them.
I think Team Manitoba is just a little concerned that that red one can be promoted fairly easily, so they're going to squash that opportunity for Team Nova Scotia.
Now, what that shot did do, however, is really to make those 2 yellow stones in the back 12-foot most likely out of play for the remainder of the end. Although, who knows, perhaps Manitoba will try to open something up next, but that seems counterintuitive to what they just did. But right now, I think they want to ensure they're one, and if they have some type of a shot towards the latter part of the end for a deuce, then they'll take that even if it's a low probability.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, what's Adam chosen to do here?
I think they're coming around, so they're going to try and get shot rock by coming on the in turn, which I think based on how much the ace is curling is definitely there if you have the right weight.
Yeah, they didn't even look at the out turn. I'm wondering if they're concerned about the path, or they just feel that this is a better opportunity.
Yeah, most of the rocks this end have been played down this path, so they might know it a bit better. But it looks like they're changing the call potentially. I'm going to play the run back instead.
They might actually make a shot for Manitoba here if this doesn't work out for them.
Yeah, there is a little bit of risk for sure.
Although they're not playing peel weight. Looks to just have more of a down hit weight, although that seemed to be a soft release, and this is coming up quite a bit.
Quite down weight.
But another red rock that could come into play.
It's not bad. Red still, Nova Scotia's still in pretty good control with all those rocks in the front. Team Manitoba does have to deal with those now, I think.
Now looking at a triple actually, and I think it was the downside of opening it up for Nova Scotia. You give Manitoba a chance to play on those stones. Now those yellow rocks come into play potentially.
Yeah, absolutely. All those little 12-foot rocks could definitely come to bite you a little bit.
So Jordan didn't have to play the peel because his opponent gave it, managed to play it for him.
Yes, exactly.
There it is, a great shot.
Awesome shot.
That was the danger of trying to play back on their red guard and opening up just a little.
Now Team Nova Scotia has to make a decision whether they're going to try and eliminate some rocks or make a really precise hit and roll.
Well, there's no way to make a double and hide your shooter, so looks like they're going to elect for the roll and put some pressure on Manitoba to make a big shot if they're going to get a big end.
Absolutely. He made a good one last end. We'll see if he can help his team out here again.
This is coming up really hard.
This one's curling early, yeah. Not a bad spot for it, though.
Well, it is still shot stone, and Manitoba will have to make a play on it with their own rock behind it. They have to be a little bit careful. They're going to try to hit and roll towards the 12-foot side. I think even if you roll out here, you're happier with that than you are with jamming and giving them a chance to potentially sit two.
Yes, I definitely agree. Knowing the tolerance of whether to hit this high or low side is very important. If you were to jam on that back one, you might give Team Nova Scotia a bit of an out. And they're on it early.
Oh. A little unfortunate to move that back stone, but still sitting 3 right now, Manitoba, and I don't know if there's an opportunity to remove 2 or try to play damage control. They're going to have to get aggressive and just try to put a red stone in behind something.
Yeah.
See if Manitoba wants to try a big circus shot. If they can place this perfectly, it'll be difficult to get out, but of course there'll be an angle raise or something available. With all these rocks in play, there always seems to be something available.
Exactly. Yeah, it's tough to put this in a really, really good position where Team Manitoba won't have a shot to get a whole bundle.
Actually, I don't know how they looked at it, but if they could bring this, even if it's partially open, into the back 8 sitting shot, they might put it in a position where if it was hit, it would jam on the back. And at this point, you're just trying to, if you can, create a force, but even a deuce wouldn't be terrible.
Exactly, yeah.
Still keep you in the game.
Line looks good on this one. Sweepers are right off it, though. Close for line.
Not a spot they've played out at very much, and a little bit of guessing on the weight, but looks to have a pretty good shot. And if that just sits right there,
it's gotta sit.
A little too hot. Slipping to the back 12. Manitoba will continue to lie 2.
Yeah, so he has play a soft weight tap on this, and you could score 4, potentially 5. I'm not sure if that back one's in or not. But he has to make this.
Bit unfortunate there. I think if that stops a foot short, they're actually in a great spot.
I would agree, yeah. Really, really close.
Successful hit and stick, so looks to be 4 points for Manitoba. They did just kick that stone off. That
I
was.
think
Close,
it's 5.
Was it 5?
Yeah, the third motion 5, and Nova Scotia didn't disagree, so it looks like that back one was biting. So a really, really big end for Team Manitoba there.
So we head to the break, and if it is 5, then that would be a 7-1 lead. Nova Scotia will get hammer in 5. And heading into the break, we'll see you in the next end. Hello and welcome back to the first championship draw at the 2019 U-18 Canadian National Championships. I'm Kevin Palmer here with Kelsey Rock. That was the shot of the game up until the last end, I think, where a triple by Manitoba led to their picking up 5 points. And here we have it right there.
Yeah, absolutely. There's been a couple really big shots in this game that have kind of swung the momentum back and forth, but like you said, a really big shot by Team Manitoba in the last end opened that opportunity for them to get a big 5-end.
We will try to get you up to date on some of the other scores as well as we go here. And right now, Nova Scotia really just has to get some points on the board. With the 5-rock rule, they will certainly have opportunity. We all may see Manitoba continue to keep the foot on the gas, however, so as they know they can't remove too many of those stones until later in the end anyway. So always find this interesting now that we have seen some comebacks this season at all levels, I think, Kelsey, where we hadn't in the years past. So something that you've embraced and you enjoy, the 5-rock then?
Yeah, I think so. It's definitely been a learning curve. I know when it was first introduced kind of in the slams, I definitely had my fair share of giving up big ends and kind of knowing how to manage those shots and how kind of your calls change early in an end to make sure that it's open for your last rocks. But yeah, I think it's a great change for curling. It keeps the game exciting, puts more rocks in play, and like you said, no lead is really ever safe. Big ends can be, just like Manitoba scored a 5-ender, it's not to say that Nova Scotia can't come back with a big end as well.
So with Manitoba putting up a center guard, maybe a little bit longer than they wanted, rather than put up a second corner, Nova Scotia chose to come in. So looks like Manitoba will be able to get to this rock and roll away. On the left-hand out turn, which theory says sometimes runs a bit straighter than a right-hander's in turn. So just kisses the red stone, pushes it out of the middle of the house, but it does stay partially buried behind the red corner guard. So as you say, there's already something to work with here for Nova Scotia.
Yeah, and just a quick update. After 4 ends on all the games going on this morning. After 4 ends, BC is up 2-1 over Saskatchewan. Ontario is up 7-4 over New Brunswick. Nova Scotia 2 and Alberta. Alberta is up 3-2. And on the girls' games, Northern Ontario is up 3-1. Saskatchewan up 4-3 on New Brunswick. Manitoba and Alberta 2. Manitoba has 3 points, and Alberta 2 is at 2. Alberta and Ontario. Ontario is up 3-1, and that's all after 4 ends.
So removing the corner guard. Nova Scotia is going to play around center again here, it looks like. Alex actually plays the clarinet, the saxophone, the piano, and also sings. I assume he doesn't do that all at the same time. I would imagine That's one at a time. If he could do all that at once, that would be exceptional, and I think he should probably avoid curling and focus on that. That's
very impressive.
And I think they were just trying to slash a double in there, but they only get the one stone.
So Nova Scotia's got a pretty good angle on the one in the center. So that red's not going really much of anywhere anytime soon. So Nova Scotia, I think, is going to come around again and put another freeze on top, try and generate a big end here.
Yeah, 3's definitely in play. Challenge Manitoba has, if you make a perfect shot here, even if you hit the open stone, you're to try and cut them down, you're still in some trouble. I think it might be tempted to still do that anyway at this point, but that long center turning out to be a bit of trouble for them.
Yeah, absolutely. Gotta go for line on this one. It's curling close to that guard.
May just be a little bit light on this.
Yeah.
Really want to get it as deep as they
rings.
can. So the good news is it's in the ring, in the rings. The bad news is it's going to be difficult now to make a play on it to promote it into the yellow stone. So Manitoba will just hit the open rock. I'm wondering if they can see that yellow though, just peeking out on the intern side, Kelsey.
Yeah, I think it's definitely possible to probably pick it. Something that Manitoba will have to keep in mind. It's important to stick this in the rings if they can. I think they're gonna just roll out though.
So this is a case where Nova Scotia wants to be thinking a few rocks ahead to see how they're going to score 3 here. So what do you like here, Kelsey?
Yeah, I think, what are we on, thirds last? I think gonna have to make a move pretty soon. Manitoba can very easily throw a guard and kind of take that end away from you. Mind you, it does have to be perfect. So I think just a little tap, try and keep that angle, maybe push your red a little further back, but make sure we keep that square angle and that yellow so you can run it back a little bit later. Keeps Manitoba having to probably play an offensive shot at that point if there's no accessible double. Basically, Manitoba's strategy going into this end would be to eliminate as many red rocks as possible, pending there's no kind of risk in doing it. So until there's a big risk of a jam or giving Nova Scotia too much of an opportunity, they're probably going to hit.
Yeah, I think if you're Manitoba, you're really happy to give up a deuce.
Absolutely.
And even a 3 puts you in great position with hammer. But you never want to think, oh, it's okay to give up 3, but
yeah. Sometimes if you have a couple misses throughout an end and you're up 7-1, a 3 isn't the end of the world, but it does switch the momentum a little bit. It kind of gives Nova Scotia a little bit more confidence going into the following end.
So it's the one danger on that shot. Actually, that's almost a bit of a break that it curled a little further, so it took away the double.
So not bad, but for some reason it looks like Manitoba might draw.
Yeah. So if the shooter had sort of just stayed right there, pretty automatic double. Now they it slips back. Yeah, if I'm Nova Scotia, I want Manitoba to play a draw here.
I think so. Yeah, if they put a draw in a good place though, it's tough to make a double. But again, even if that draw is perfect and Nova Scotia comes down and noses it, Manitoba's got to make a perfect guard or else it's a hit for 4. Mind you, if they were to hit, it's tough to put their shooter in a spot where there wouldn't be a double for Nova Scotia to lie 3.
Yeah, even rolling away I think would be difficult. So it's, if you have a lot of tough shots, I guess you play the tough shot you feel most comfortable with and something that you think will put more pressure on your opponent.
Absolutely. Jordan might be feeling his draws a little more today or know the path really well, so.
And they seem to be on and off here, so.
Looks pretty good.
They like the result so far.
Really good shot. Perfect.
Now,
so now Nova Scotia will probably nose.
Well, that's a situation though. You have to be thinking, because if they nose here, Manitoba at that point is looking at a lot of red stones and one lonely yellow with nothing to catch behind it.
Yeah, then they'd have to make a pretty good guard, and even then, if the guard's made, it'll always have the run back for a few. A little bit tight early.
Yeah, this is coming up. They're actually going to rub off their own red.
Oh no.
And ends up actually removing one of their stones out of play. So not what they were hoping for there. Seen that on a few shots this game where just perhaps a soft handle or not getting out and to that positive release.
Yeah, just a little bit of a soft release. Just catching Team Nova Scotia a little bit today.
And Manitoba looking at red removal on this shot. They could elect to play guard or actually take an aggressive play. Let's see, and I was going to guess there was going to be a timeout there. It felt like it.
Yeah, because Nova Scotia moved that red rock, the double might go underneath. So you do have to be a little bit careful. So out comes Coach John Newart. Again, he's coached these boys for 3 years, so we'll have a listen to what he has to say here.
So let's take a look at how we actually got here. And a slight rub on Nova Scotia stone, and then Manitoba electing to play a draw. And then Nova Scotia skip. Fourth thrower actually just rubbing on the front there with Owen's shot. Leaving Manitoba with a bit of a conundrum. I think sometimes a tendency, maybe particularly at this age, is to throw a bunch of weight and watch the granite move, especially when you're up. And,
Absolutely.
it seemed to be the first shot they looked at, and sometimes that's the one you call. And yeah, maybe it's just fun to make a rock go sideways, I guess, is part of the idea. But really what's the danger here is that you may leave your opponent a triple for 2, which in your position isn't terrible.
Yeah, that's definitely a win, and that's completely fine. I think the only way you can give up more than 2 is by not hitting something and missing the guard.
So I'm going to expect some big weight on this shot. 1, 2, 3. See what the... Actually, camera not even able to keep up with that shot. And it was so hard. Didn't quite get the action they were hoping for. Maybe hit a little bit thick.
Yeah, so I think just off nose, 3/4 of a rock might make that double for 3 for Nova Scotia. Yeah. So a big shot here to kind of get a little bit of momentum back in their corner.
Difficult that they have to try to keep the shooter while still removing both yellows. So it's not an automatic double for 3. It's one of those shots where you want to play up weight to get rid of the shot stone, but at the same time, the up weight, and you hit 3/4 of rock, you might roll right out of play. And I do think, is that Manitoba rock at the back just nibbling, so you need to be full 12, maybe at least half a rock into the 12.
Yes.
Stick around for 3.
It's not
Final
throwing
stone.
a bunch of weight, which is good. It's pretty close. Come up a little bit.
And
great
exactly
shot.
plays the nice soft weight and does stick around for 3. So Nova Scotia rebounds, and it'll be 7-4, Manitoba with hammer going into the 6th end. Not a shot that looks as easy as it looks, Kelsey. But,
no, absolutely not. He made that look really easy, but it was well thrown, well swept, well called, and the right weight was thrown, which was very important to make sure that that shooter stuck.
I know you mentioned the word momentum, and as someone who looks at the math and analytics of things, sometimes I think it's hard to measure momentum. And certainly if you're Manitoba and they said you'd be 3 up with hammer and 3 ends to go, you would have taken it. But
absolutely.
Still kind of just gets under your skin a little, I guess, right? When you think that's an end you could have avoided.
For sure, I do think so too. Giving up a 3 under is never good regardless of the score, but Manitoba did have a big lead, so they just got to shake off that end and reset and have a good one here. Make sure that they score, I think, is the biggest thing here.
Certainly no surrender from this Nova Scotia team. Again, 2 of the players defending champions from last year, this event. I think it's actually quite astonishing and remarkable if you think about the age construction of this too, that to be at this level and be given the opportunity that many times, you're starting pretty young. And I think, as you mentioned, this Manitoba skip is only how old? So
he's only 15 years old.
Yeah, he's got a few more of these ahead of him potentially as well.
Yeah, very, very strong players all around on this sheet of ice for their age, that's for sure.
Well, like you say, you started at 13. You were an old-timer at that point.
I know, yeah. They are light years ahead of what I was at 15, that's for sure.
So double centers thrown up by Nova Scotia. Manitoba just doesn't even necessarily need to bury this completely. You just want to put something into the path.
Absolutely. I think it's almost better if you throw a sort of edger, so your rock's still open and you can always use it to promote later. Whereas you don't want to be deep and too buried. Give Nova Scotia a bit of an out.
You mean this? This
just
shot
like
here?
This,
yeah,
yes.
Just like this. Yeah, for some it might look good that it's T-line, but it's probably about 2 feet too heavy.
Yeah, much better to be a little higher in the rings on that first one. Draws the play, forces Nova Scotia to move some Manitoba rocks rather than kind of freeze down to them early. Line looks a little tighter though on this line.
Yeah, they've been on it all the way.
Gotta go to keep it off those guards.
No, they're definitely going to rub here on something. And
just a little bit of struggles with line for Team Nova Scotia today, especially on their draws.
let's see if Manitoba elects to play back in the rings or clear up some of the mess up there. I think that's the pertinent choice, but we'll. I understand the concern about jamming, but when I'm up 3 with a hammer, I think I want to get rid of some of that out there.
Yeah, I
Too
definitely
much could go wrong later.
I think they could get all 3 if they hit it right.
And
Close.
does remove the top stone and moves things around a little bit. So Nova Scotia electing to put up another guard. Recognizing that at this position, when they're down this much, they don't want to play in too early and give Manitoba a chance to keep clearing that out. So try to take the play above the rings for a little while and then come in.
Good guard thrown there.
So as you say, Manitoba is concerned about a jam, and Nova Scotia's got their fingers crossed hoping to get one.
Yeah.
And it is possible.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Nova Scotia's got a lot of guards, so lots of opportunity for a potential steal this end. Let's curl a bit. Just the one.
So skip Adam McKecker now with his first shot of the end. We're going to go back up top one more time. I think on the next one they're going to have to make a play into the rings, though, Kelsey.
I agree. Yeah. Even if they were to freeze down to the one that's splitting the T line and Manitoba blasts, they would be able to come around their red guard that they still have up there, potentially generate a force that way.
So Manitoba peeling again. Now, knowing that your opponent's going to go in, you know, I know you're well ahead, and I still like this call, but I wonder if he would have even thought a little bit about, you know, not playing the peel and trying to come in. But
yeah, sometimes the best defense is offense, that's for sure. But I think this peel is the right call, just based on the scoreboard and having that 3-point lead with hammer.
And this just what they were concerned about and Nova Scotia was hoping for.
Yeah, and that was lined right up to do that. So Nova Scotia in a bit of control now, but I think they do still have to throw that guard. Try and avoid setting up a double peel and make Jordan draw the lid to get his one.
So have you been out to Nova Scotia, Kelsey?
I have a few times. Our first Canadian juniors were actually in Liverpool. Yeah.
So came up short on that one. I guess a round of sarsaparillas for Adam now. And so that's unfortunate for Nova Scotia. They had a chance there to get that second guard.
Yeah.
But still an opportunity here to at least force. But really a steal is really what they need to be trying for. So I'd be tempted to still play a guard here anyway rather than hit and sit two.
Yeah, I think you do have to play the guard still.
But
you gotta hope Manitoba stuffs a peel or leaves a rock up there, then you can come around it and try and get the force that way.
yeah, I think if the score's a little bit tighter, you might just force for one, but I think you've still got an opportunity to force, but you need to give some probability that a steal could take place, even if it's very small.
Absolutely.
And giving up 1 or 2 is not really going to change the outcome too much here. You're still really, really in trouble.
Yeah.
So.
Yes, a steal here by Nova Scotia still keeps them in it, that's for sure. We've seen crazier things happen.
This is hanging out there a little bit. They're just
Might have to finish it a little bit.
waiting for it to come. And the only danger, though, is they left it quite a while, and it's still a bit long.
Yeah, I think they can
So hard
still
to
get to that.
So hard to throw a perfect guard on this kind of ice when you get this amount of swing, right?
Absolutely. Honestly, and on curly ice, guards are some of the hardest shots to throw. They're just very, very precise.
And we'll see Manitoba attempt to hit and roll away here, and I think Nova Scotia most likely will try to come around that guard again, depending where this shot ends up.
Absolutely.
But it's so long that it might be very, very difficult actually to hide something behind it that can at least be moved around. That's the difficulty. That's the one thing about this amount of curl that I get a little bit, I question at times, that if you need to have 2 guards just to be able to bury something, because you need staggered guards, then it does kind of change the dynamic of the game quite a bit.
Sure. It's a great shot there by Jordan.
Well, one thing about the position of it is, if Nova Scotia puts this in a certain spot, they might actually leave it so that it would jam onto that yellow. It's if they're unable to bury it completely. What they don't want to do is have this come around to the other side.
Absolutely.
And just leave a piece on the intern.
Yeah, still the opportunity for the jam if they're a little high on, as we look at it, the left-hand side.
They have pretty good line here, Kelsey.
Yeah, weight looks pretty good.
Oh, now it's coming up quite a bit. So you
Right
almost want
over
this to
curl.
stop and not curl too much. And yeah, just what we talked about. Actually, a case where they should have. It's so sensitive because you're trying to land it, probably 3 inches shorter.
Absolutely.
But unfortunate now that that's peeking out the side. So.
Yeah, still a bit of a tough shot here for Team Manitoba. They have to play a softer weight in order to stick it. It's not, don't need to stick it, but make sure you're past the guard here.
Well, we've seen at times that with a bit of up weight, and if you send it out a little, it could run a little straighter than you expect. So that's what Nova Scotia's hoping for here. Pretty clean release, it looked like.
Always good when they're on and off. That looks pretty good.
And
Nice shot.
great shot. 2 points for Manitoba, and
That will be handshakes.
final score 9-4 Manitoba.
Really well played game by both teams. Team Manitoba just took advantage of a few big shots, and I think the turning point would be in the 4th end with that big score of 5.
So Manitoba wins 9-4. Let's take a look at how this game ended up. We had the shot by Nova Scotia to get 3 points and try to come back in this game.
might not be a bad idea to take the camera off, and we'll just stick them both just over there, or even in the truck again. Yeah, might not be a bad idea.
But in the end, it was handshakes, and Manitoba defeating Nova Scotia 9-4. Both teams will continue in this championship round play, and our next matchup will be at 2 o'clock today. Thanks for joining.
It's funny because Elaine read it and I didn't talk to her about it.